Okay, so in today's video, we are going to be diving into the world of macro photography and video. And to do that, we're going to be using the new Apexel PhoneMicro 5. The folks over at Apexel were kind enough to send this to me to demo, and I gotta say I did, and I was blown away. This thing is amazing. It's perfect for our niche in rock hounding and lapidary and photography of minerals and gems. It's awesome. I picked out an assortment of rocks here that I want to get a closer look at the macro level, more than what my camera can normally do. And this device does that. So let's open the box and see what's inside. So this is a mobile device. It attaches to your phone. Instruction manual, of course. Here's the unit itself. Got a nice carrying pouch here. Comes with a USB charger. Comes with a screen wipe. And then it has some spacers to fit most mobile phones. And I've tried this on 3 different phones, an Apple and 2 Samsung Galaxies, 2 different models of Samsung Galaxies, and it works perfectly. So the lens itself actually pops off and you can charge. This is the unit you charge, and the charging port's right here. Has an on-off button here. Just press and hold. You can cycle between the light functions with this button on the bottom. So you can see it's got a half light, a dimmer. Really cool feature here, it's got a UV light, and we'll get into more of that later. We're going to use that. It actually works really well. And it's got kind of like a light bulb kind of light, and then it's got your typical, this is the light I like, it's more of a standard white light. So first things first, you want to attach the housing unit onto your phone. There's my lens from my phone. It's a typical holder for your phone. So you position it over your lens like so. You can adjust this slider to make sure it lines up with your lens. And you just tighten it in place. And then you could just easily snap on the lens onto the phone and you're ready to go. So a really convenient feature about this macro lens is that you don't need to have an app to use it. It's app free. It essentially uses your optical lens on your camera and it just filters it through the macro lens. And the macro lens then just magnifies the optics. So really easy to use. Let's take a look at the comparison between the normal phone lens and the macro lens. So here's a little limb cast that I want to look at closer. I'm using my camera phone right now, so I'm not using the macro lens. My phone has a maximum zoom of 20 times, and if I hold this about 5-6 inches away, and I go to my, this is 5 times zoom. You can see that eye agate just starting to form there. You can see some other cool features, the black kind of flame moving away from the center. Of course, we got the red jasper on the outside. If I try to get any closer, it starts to get hard to focus. You can see there I got a pretty good focus on it right now. And when I go any further, this is where I lose focus. So I'm about 2 inches away. So if I go in even further, this is a 10 times zoom and I'm only the same couple inches away. So you see it's very difficult to focus there. I'll pull it away to see when I can come into focus. And there we go, right there. You can see it's no different zoom than the 5 times. Now I'm about 20 inches away from the rock. The optical zoom on the camera, on my phone cameras, really not good. It loses focus fairly easily. Now, when I use the macro lens, it's a different story. So let me put that on right now and I'll show you the difference. Okay, so now I have the macro lens on and you can see it's quite blurry. I'm about 2 to 3 inches away right now. To use this lens, it has to be right up against the lens. And so I'm going to put this right up against the lens. This is the macro lens in effect now. So you can see I'm zoomed in much closer. And I can see that nice little eye agate in the center there. I can also see this yellow banding that I didn't see before on the black. There's a hidden beauty in this limb cast that you didn't get to see without this lens. Right now it's 1 time zoom on my camera phone, and the macro lens is at 200 optical zoom. So right now I'm 200 optical zoom. I can go to the 5 times zoom on my phone, and it will zoom in even farther, even with the macro lens on. So I'm going to hit the 5 times zoom button now. And as you can see, I can zoom in even further, and the clarity remains the same. So when I go over that you can see now I can get right on that eye agate, and I see these little dots in there, which I did not see before. There's yellow dots. It's just a different world in there than what I can see with the naked eye and my camera phone. You can even see the nice crystallization in the quartz. You can see some light refracting going on. It's really cool. There's the banding on the outside from the black and the jasper details. So even a little mini agate there. So really cool, awesome little tool. So there's the UV light on here. This piece isn't doing much fluorescing, a little bit in there. Now, the outside of this is limestone, so I'm pretty sure if I put it on the outside, there you see there's some fluorescing going on. Now on the outside it's going to fluoresce very much because it's limestone. There's going to be calcite in there. So on the outer edge where you get closer to the limestone, you do see a little bit of fluorescing going on. But in towards the chalcedony centers, there's not much. There's a little bit, but not much. A few little particles in there. Really cool feature of this little macro lens is the UV light. And as you can see, I just pop the lens off when I'm done. If I'm out in the field, I can just leave the housing on. It's already all lined up, and I just keep this in my pocket until I'm ready to use it. So let's take a look at another rock now. So here's another larger limb cast, and I wanted to look at this one because of the pink little center here. I want to know what's making up that pink color. I can't see it with the naked eye. It's kind of faint. It's got a weird assortment of pink and white kind of mixed through it. Again, here's me zooming in with the 5x zoom. This is pretty much the best zoom I have on my phone. And now I'll attach the macro lens. You see how clear it gets as soon as I get right up to the lens. And right away, so there's the center, what I thought was pink, but you can see it looks like it's getting its coloration from all these little tiny dots, kind of similar to what we saw in the last piece. So let's hit the 5x zoom on my phone to see if we can get even closer. And that's pretty cool. All these they look like ink spots. Go outside to the jasper. You can see really cool details in it. Some plumage that you wouldn't normally see with the naked eye. So we're looking through the macro lens. It's really like a whole other world in there. So let's look at it under UV light through the macro lens. This piece fluoresces a little more. As you get it away from the center, you can see you get closer to the limestone edge and it's fluorescing more. That's inside the jasper there. And as you in the quartz, you won't expect to see much fluorescing, but a little bit. That was a cool little exploration of that core. So let's go on to the next piece. So here's a Richardson Rock Ranch Thunder Egg. I thought it'd be cool to zoom in on this. There's some eye agates in here. See if there's anything in there that we missed with the naked eye, and also to see if it fluoresces. So here's the 5x zoom on the camera lens. Not bad detail. So let's take a look at it through the macro lens. So one thing I noticed is that the center of the eyes have a little bit of color to them that I did not see before. And the outside green that we were seeing is actually very translucent chalcedony. And it has some plumage to it, like some stick agate almost in there. The clarity on this lens is awesome. I mean, to get to 200 times, and have it this clear, it's amazing. It's a little red dot in the center of that eye agate there. Again, details you just don't pick up with the naked eye. Look at that green plume. Like, that's really cool. Like, that's translucent. Oh, that's neat there. The little shot of little streak of red there. Let's take a look at this under 5 times. So again, you lose a little clarity on the 5 times zoom. Definitely not as good as the 1 times. But it gives you that little extra look. Let's take a look at the UV light. So one thing I can tell you about there's a little bit of fluorescing there. Some fluorescence on the outside. Actually, that's the eye agates right there. Those are the eye agates. So there's some fluorescence in the eye agate. But the outside thunder egg, like the rhyolite part of the, not much. There's a little bit of streaking in there, but not much on the way of. So that's interesting. So the clear chalcedony part of the thunder egg fluoresces with the agate. Now on the limb cast that we showed earlier, that didn't. So there's obviously some minerals that are present in this thunder egg that are giving off fluorescence. Some nice fluorescing there. So that was cool. Let's take a look at another piece. Okay, now this rock doesn't look like much. I know. It's a black rock. Here's what it looks like unpolished. Now, this is an ultramafic pegmatite. This comes from an ultramafic pegmatite dike that outcrops on the Bay of Fundy, here where we rockhound. The rock is extremely heavy, has a lot of ultramafic minerals in it. However, it's magnetic, and for the longest time it puzzled me as to why it's weakly magnetic, very slightly. What I noticed was when I zoom in, so it's very hard to pick up on the zoom, but every once in a while you'll see a little flash of almost like a metallic dot in some places. It's hard to pick up right now under the 5 times, but there's one right there. And what I believe that was pyrrhotite, little droplets of pyrrhotite scattered throughout this ultramafic pegmatite. So I think what it would be cool to do is to look at it underneath the macro lens to see if we can see those little droplets of pyrrhotite, and to see other things in here if we can't see it from the naked eye. So let's take a look at the macro lens. All right, we're at 1 time zoom here. You can actually see what is probably either pyroxene or olivine crystals, but it's got a green look to it. And right there, if you can see that, I believe is one of our pyrrhotite droplets. You can see that little metallic, shiny dot. That's what we're looking for. And I believe they'll be scattered. There's another 2 right next to each other. There's another one there. Putting it right in the center, so you can see. So they're even under the macro lens, they're super tiny. So let's kind of zoom in with the 5 times, see what it does. And there you can see it's like a little sun. Of course, the magnification's not great, so let's zoom out a bit. Let's go to 3 times. Still a little blurry on the 3 times. So we'll go back to the 1 times. So there's another one there. So when you look at this from the naked eye, it's just a black rock. You don't see any of this green, fibrous crystal structure. And you definitely don't see the pyrrhotite droplets. But you can see they're all throughout there. Here's a very dense concentration of them right there. So that's why this piece is weakly magnetic. It's because of the pyrrhotite. Just to see, I doubt it'll fluoresce, but I haven't tried it yet. But let's just see what this thing looks like under UV light. And as we would expect, nothing. It's pitch black. Now, I think the pyrrhotite is fluorescing. So you can see our little dots. So this is actually a decent way to look for pyrrhotite. Because it looks like the pyrrhotite is fluorescing. You can see the pyrrhotite drops there. So that's a cool way to identify it. Neat. Well, that was cool. So let's go look at a piece of petrified wood now. So here's my fabulous 1-inch slab, 10-inch round piece of Saddle Mountain petrified wood from Washington. Really nice specimen. It's got a lot going on. I love the ring action in this one. So it's really cool to look at the rings under macro. Here's what they look like under 5x zoom. And let's take a look to see what it looks like through the macro lens. So here we are under 200x macro lens. And you can see the rings here. It's pretty cool. There's the center pith of the wood. Some cool agate there. This almost looks like some plumage. Let's see if we can look at this under 5x. So that's pretty neat. That came in pretty clear, actually. That almost looks like cell structure there. Which means we're on the verge of micro. Starting to see the little micro scratches in this polish. So it's not a perfect polish under macro. So let's take a look to see what fluoresces in this piece. So right off the bat, there's quite a lot of fluorescence. So as you can see, the UV light does give off some fluorescence. Now, if you noticed in all these pieces when we've turned on the UV light, it's pretty much the same colors we're getting. There's a little bit of pink there, but most likely it's because this UV light's emitting long wave UV light, so it's not the best kind of UV light for looking at fluorescent minerals. Really short wave UV lights are the better for detecting the multiple colors that you can see. But you can see some fluorescing here, and you know, it's a cool feature of the device. Some, like, look, there's some pink being given off there, so there is, you know, some variety in color here. So that one was a cool piece to look at. So I hope you enjoyed that little dive into these rocks and getting a little closer look at them. This device is pretty cool, and I'm going to be using it a lot in my day-to-day rock hounding adventures. If you guys liked what you saw today and you want to pick up one of these PhoneMicro 5s for yourself, there'll be a link in the description, and you can use the code ROCKHOUND without the D. So ROCKHOUN. Put it up on the screen. Use that code and it'll get you 15% off. These retail for approximately $75, so you'll get 15% off of that. So you'll be coming in around $50, $55 if you want to purchase one of these. Really worth the money. Really gets you looking into a whole other world of rocks. Again, works well with flat surfaces. You don't need an app. And yeah, you'll have a lot of fun with this. So I highly recommend it. I was super impressed for the price. It's a great little tool. Go ahead and pick yourself up one if you want one via the link below. With that, guys, I want you to have a great week. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.